It's funny how some days just start. This morning, I had every intention of getting up early for a quick workout, had it all planned.
Mm-hmm.
And then the alarm went off. And instead of leaping out of bed, I found myself in this, surprisingly intense negotiation with my pillow.
Oh, I know that negotiation well.
Guess who won that round? My pillow, obviously. Maybe you had a similar experience. You tell yourself you'll tackle that important task, but then find yourself lost in the social media scroll or reaching for that extra snack you didn't really need.
Yeah.
It's that moment of knowing what you should do, but just not doing it. Okay, let's unpack this. Because today, we're diving into something incredibly vital yet often misunderstood. Discipline.
And what's fascinating here is how universal that feeling is, that internal negotiation you just described. It's a core human experience, really.
Absolutely.
So this deep dive is about exploring how to cultivate more discipline in our lives, not through, brute force or self-punishment, but in a way that feels real, sustainable, and maybe even empowering. We're moving beyond that kind of rigid military-style discipline often depicted, and instead looking at the kind that genuinely helps us align our actions with our intentions, even when motivation is, low.
And that's exactly where the conventional wisdom often falls short, isn't it? We've kind of been conditioned to believe discipline means this huge, extreme overhaul.
Yeah, like waking up at 5 a.m., working out for 2 hours.
Eating only, kale salads and abandoning all forms of fun forever.
Exactly. It's a picture that's just not sustainable for most of us. It sets you up to fail, almost.
Totally.
You've hit on a crucial point there. That extreme all-or-nothing approach. It's often a recipe for failure. Real discipline, the kind that actually creates lasting change, is far gentler. It's more strategic and, frankly, profoundly human.
Okay.
At its core, it's not about being perfect or super strict. It's about consistently keeping the small promises you make to yourself.
Small promises. Okay.
Yeah, for instance, if you genuinely intend to go for a short walk after dinner and you actually follow through, that seemingly minor act, that's an exercise in discipline. It doesn't need to be monumental to be significant.
Keeping small promises to yourself. That phrase feels almost revolutionary compared to the usual harsh view of discipline.
Doesn't it?
Sort of transforms it from a chore into something more like self-care, maybe.
Yeah.
Or building genuine trust with yourself.
Precisely. You can think of discipline less as a rigid command and more as a muscle for your self-efficacy.
A muscle, okay.
Yeah, the more you practice it, even with tiny, seemingly insignificant actions, the stronger it actually becomes. There's research in behavioral psychology showing that consistent small wins literally reinforce neural pathways.
Wow, really?
Yeah, in your prefrontal cortex. It enhances your ability to resist impulses and pursue longer-term goals. It's not just a metaphor, it's like neuroplasticity in action.
So it's actually changing your brain bit by bit.
Exactly. Every small action today is a tangible investment in your future self, building this foundation of self-respect and confidence that just compounds over time.
Oh, that resonates so much. But here's the problem I run into. When I first hear discipline, my immediate thought is to launch into something massive.
Right, the grand gesture.
Yeah, like committing to run 5 kilometers every morning or swearing off sugar forever, and then, surprise, surprise, I fail almost immediately. It's like my brain gets excited about the idea, but my body just rebels against the reality of it.
That's where so many of us get caught in that common trap. The secret, as you just touched on, is to really embrace the power of starting ridiculously small.
Ridiculously small.
Yeah, think about tiny habits that require minimal effort, like making your bed in the morning, or writing just one sentence in your journal at night, or simply drinking a glass of water before your first coffee.
Okay, those sound doable.
Right. They aren't about immediate dramatic results. They're about building momentum and proving to yourself that you can follow through on something, anything.
The tiny habits idea.
Yeah.
That connects directly to that atomic habits philosophy, right? The whole get 1% better every day thing.
Exactly. The critical insight here, and it's backed up by countless studies in habit formation, is that consistency matters infinitely more than intensity.
Consistency over intensity.
Totally. It's not about performing some superhuman feat once. It's about doing something small, reliably, again and again. I recall a personal struggle with writing. I tried to commit to an hour every night, failed consistently.
And then there.
But when I scaled it way down and just told myself, okay, just open the document, write for 2 minutes, that was the promise.
2 minutes.
Just 2 minutes. I almost always kept going. And often, those 2 minutes organically turned into 20, sometimes even longer. That's the deceptive power of starting small.
That story really highlights it. Consistency trumped intensity. But it begs a deeper question. If we're all capable of starting small, what truly determines if a habit sticks? Because I've definitely started small and still seen things fizzle out. What makes the difference?
That's an excellent, insightful question. Because simply starting isn't always enough, you're right. There's actually a widely recognized framework for this, often called the habit loop.
Habit loop. Okay.
Charles Duhigg popularized it in The Power of Habit. It breaks down our behaviors into 3 key steps: a cue that triggers a behavior, the routine itself, and then the reward the brain gets.
Cue, routine, reward. Got it.
Understanding this loop is crucial because, you don't always need more willpower to change a habit. Often you can just strategically swap the routine. Keep the cue, keep the reward, change the middle bit.
I see. So it's about sort of rerouting those familiar pathways in the brain rather than trying to bulldoze a new one with sheer force.
Exactly. Brute force rarely works long term.
Can you give me a clear example, like how this QR loop works in practice?
Absolutely. Let's take that early morning scenario again. The alarm rings, that's your cue.
Okay.
Perhaps your ingrained routine is to immediately grab your phone and start scrolling. The reward is maybe a hit of dopamine or just the temporary distraction from the day ahead. Now, if you want to cultivate a different discipline, you keep the alarm and you figure out the reward you're really seeking. Maybe it's feeling prepared or energized.
Right.
But you intentionally change the routine. So alarm rings, cue. You immediately drink a glass of water you left out, new routine. And the reward is feeling hydrated and ready to start new reward, or satisfying the old need in a new way. The brain still gets a reward, but the behavior is productive.
I understand. That makes so much sense. So, okay, instead of reacting to stress, that's the cue by mindlessly scrolling my phone.
Which is the routine.
Right. I could implement a different routine. The reward I want is still feeling calmer or finding a moment of escape, but the routine becomes, say, a short walk or 5 minutes of deep breathing.
Perfect example. And that's how discipline becomes far more achievable. It feels less like this constant internal battle.
Yeah, less fighting yourself.
Exactly. It's not about fighting yourself all the time with sheer willpower, because willpower, well, it's a finite resource.
Right. It runs out.
It does. So it's about intelligently shaping your environment and designing your routines to support the actions you want to take, making the desired behavior the path of least resistance.
So it's not just about trying harder. It's about being smarter about how we set ourselves up for consistent success. That strategic thinking really is a game changer.
Exactly. And that ties into mindset too. Discipline is also deeply connected to mindset.
Okay, how so?
Well, one of the most powerful shifts is moving from being reactive to being proactive.
Reactive versus proactive. Explain that a bit.
If you are proactive, you anticipate challenges and make choices before problems arise. You're thinking ahead. If you're reactive, you just wait, respond to whatever pops up, deal with external pressures, and often feel like life is controlling you, not the other way around.
Oh boy. That sounds alarmingly like my reactive moments. Just yesterday, got home late, hadn't planned dinner, and by 9 p.m. I was starving.
Let me guess. Pizza. Takeout.
Ordered pizza, regretted it almost immediately. Classic reactive move.
A classic scenario, and one many of us know well. But contrast that. When you spend just 10 minutes on Sunday packing lunches for a few days, or planning your evening meals roughly.
You preempt that frantic decision-making.
Exactly. That's being proactive. It's about taking the reins, exerting control over your choices, rather than just letting circumstances dictate them.
This idea of proactive thinking is powerful, but, often, even with the best intentions, our daily actions can feel, well, just like tasks, like drudgery. How do we keep that bigger picture alive, especially when the day-to-day feels overwhelming? What else is part of this mindset?
That's where having a clear, compelling vision comes in. It's absolutely crucial.
Vision.
Yeah. When you connect your small daily disciplines to a meaningful long-term goal, something you really care about, your actions suddenly feel imbued with purpose. They transform from mere chores into deliberate steps on a path you've chosen.
Wow, okay.
This taps into intrinsic motivation, making the effort feel less like a burden and more like an investment in something you truly value.
Oh, like when I actually picture myself genuinely healthier and more energetic in the future, then I start to see exercise not as torture I have to endure,
right,
but as a deliberate investment in that future version of me. That's a powerful reframe.
Yes, exactly. It transforms that perceived burden into a purposeful step towards your own goals. However, there's a common pitfall here that undermines this vision.
What's that?
The trap of comparing ourselves to others. Social media especially can make us feel like our progress is just insignificant next to someone else's highlight reel.
Oh yeah, that happens constantly. I see what other people are doing, their seemingly rapid progress, and suddenly my own small steps feel utterly meaningless. Makes me want to just give up.
And that's precisely why external comparison is so detrimental to consistent discipline. It shifts your focus from your own journey, your own growth, to an external, often unrealistic benchmark.
So what's the alternative?
Cultivate the habit of comparing yourself only to who you were yesterday.
Okay. Compare me to past me.
Exactly. If yesterday you wrote 1 page in your journal and today you wrote 2, that's quantifiable progress for you. This internal comparison builds self-efficacy, that belief in yourself, and fosters a healthier, more sustainable sense of achievement.
I really like that. It feels much kinder and frankly more effective than trying to keep up with the Joneses, digitally or otherwise.
Much kinder.
But even with a clear vision and strategic planning, my emotions often get in the way. It's like there's this internal resistance, this invisible force that just makes my resolve crumble sometimes. How do we navigate those moments?
Oh, yes. Emotions are incredibly powerful architects of our daily choices, aren't they? Sometimes that resistance comes from what we can call ego.
Ego, like arrogance.
Not necessarily in the sense of arrogance, but more like the part of our psyche that prioritizes comfort, familiarity, the known. It's that little voice whispering, "You're fine, no need to try so hard," when real growth often demands confronting discomfort or embracing a challenge. For instance, skipping practice because you think, I already know this material. That's your ego seeking comfort, avoiding potential struggle.
Right.
But true discipline often requires humility. Humility is saying, okay, maybe I don't know it all. I'm still learning. I still need the practice, and then showing up anyway.
That's a fascinating distinction for ego. And then there's just plain old temptation, the allure of staying in bed, scrolling your phone, eating indulgent snacks.
Yeah.
You pretty much described my ideal Sunday morning.
Mine as well. More often than I'd like to admit, that's where self-control comes in. It's the ability to override an immediate impulse for a more desirable long-term outcome.
Okay.
But here's the crucial thing to understand. Self-control is not limitless. It's much more like a battery. Psychologists sometimes refer to this concept as ego depletion.
Ego depletion. What do you mean by that? Like, my ego runs out of energy?
Sort of, yeah. Think about it this way. In the morning, your willpower battery is often full. You wake up, maybe you make good choices, eat a healthy breakfast, focus on work.
Right, feeling strong.
Exactly. But every small decision, every impulse resisted from deciding what to wear, to ignoring a distracting email, to pushing through a difficult task, it draws from that finite mental resource.
Okay, I see where this is going.
By evening, your battery is significantly depleted. That's why suddenly it's so much harder to say no to junk food or harder to resist the urge to procrastinate on studying or whatever. Your cognitive load has been heavy all day.
Oh, now I see. That completely explains why I feel like a superhero of motivation in the morning, ready to conquer everything, but by 8 p.m. I just want pizza and Netflix and have absolutely zero capacity left for self-regulation.
Exactly. Understanding this isn't an excuse. It's a strategic insight.
Right.
That's why rest, balance, and strategic planning are so vital. By managing your energy, maybe making important decisions earlier in the day when your battery's fuller, you conserve that precious willpower.
Makes sense.
And with enough rest and recovery, you actually build resilience, the psychological and physical strength to recover from setbacks and keep going when things inevitably get hard. It's also about extending patience to yourself when you do slip up, recognizing that depletion is real.
So discipline isn't about being strictly on 100% of the time like some kind of robot.
Not at all.
It's about balance, managing your energy, and being patient and forgiving with yourself when you're running low. That feels so much more sustainable.
Absolutely. And here's another related point. Many people, including myself sometimes, try to do too many things at once.
Oh, yes.
And then get completely frustrated when they can't keep up with anything.
Oh, yes. I know that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like trying to juggle a dozen balls, learn a new language, start a fitness goal, launch a creative project, learn to cook gourmet meals.
Right.
And inevitably dropping them all in a heap of overwhelmed frustration.
And this highlights a critical, often counterintuitive point about discipline. Real discipline is not about doing everything. It's about fiercely focusing on what truly matters to you right now. Instead of trying to, learn guitar, run every day, master new recipes, and study English all at the same time.
Spreading yourself thin.
Exactly. Which leads to decision fatigue and scattered effort. Maybe you choose just English proficiency and one specific health goal. You decide to go deeper into those two, dedicating your limited willpower and attention there, and consciously let the other things wait.
That's the opportunity cost idea, isn't it? By saying yes to too many things, you implicitly say no to doing any of them well.
Precisely. You can't give focused energy to everything.
That makes perfect sense. When I spread myself too thin, I don't really achieve anything properly, and it just breeds that sense of failure. But if I focus, I can actually stay consistent and make significant progress in a few key areas.
Yes, and that's a profound form of discipline in itself. It's saying no to distractions, no to appealing but non-essential tasks, so you can truly say yes to the things that align with your deepest values and matter most to your long-term vision.
I really resonate with that. Say no to distractions, yes to what matters. Okay, so wrapping things up a bit, what's the final piece of insight you have for us today? What is discipline truly at its core?
Here's the last piece, and I think it's a really profound reframe. Discipline is not punishment.
Not punishment.
Many of us implicitly see it that way, don't we? As a sacrifice, a restriction, something unpleasant we have to force ourselves to do.
Yeah, I guess I never thought of it explicitly like that, but I can feel that unconscious association. Tell me more.
Well, think about brushing your teeth. That's a daily discipline, right?
Yeah.
You do it every day, not necessarily because it's always fun or exciting, but because you're protecting your future dental health, your future smile. It's fundamentally an act of care for future you.
Okay, I see that.
It's the same logic with saving a little money each paycheck, or studying English for just 15 minutes daily, or choosing that healthier meal over the instant gratification one. Every small act of discipline today is truly a deliberate, caring gift for your future self. It's not about deprivation now, it's about preservation and investment for later.
So these small acts don't just build external results like better teeth or more savings. They build something internal too, beyond the immediate outcome.
Exactly. When you consistently keep these small promises to yourself, even the tiny ones, you cultivate deep internal trust. You demonstrate to yourself over and over again that you are reliable, that your word to yourself matters, and that you are capable of achieving what you set out to do, even in small ways.
That makes sense.
That trust, in turn, builds genuine self-confidence, the core belief in your own ability to handle things, to succeed. And even if you fail sometimes, because you will, we all do, it's part of being human.
Right. Setbacks happen.
The key, the ultimate act of discipline, is simply to come back again and again. Real discipline isn't about never failing. It's about always returning to your commitments, dusting yourself off after a stumble, and trying again.
It feels so much kinder and infinitely more human than that traditional, rigid idea of discipline I think I grew up with. It's about building, not breaking.
And that ultimately is the truth of it. Looked at through this lens, discipline truly becomes love in action. It's an expression of care for your present and your future self.
Wow, what a journey we've taken. So, okay, what does this all mean for us, for you listening, as we navigate our daily lives? It means discipline doesn't have to be this harsh taskmaster we dread.
No.
It can truly be an act of kindness towards ourselves, a strategic, gentle way to build trust and self-respect through small, consistent actions, and a proactive, intentional mindset. I really hope you found this deep dive helpful for integrating maybe more discipline and, importantly, more kindness into your daily life.
And perhaps this raises an important final question for you to ponder. What is just one small promise you can make to yourself today? Not out of obligation or external pressure, but as a deliberate act of love and investment for your future self. Maybe consider how embracing that philosophy of always returning even to the tiniest commitment after an inevitable lapse, how that can fundamentally transform your relationship with yourself and ultimately with your most important goals.